Guys, my name is Michael and welcome to a new tutorial, a new GTK tutorial. Today we are going to learn something very interesting. Today we are going to learn new things which without them we cannot really proceed with our GTK learning system, because you really need to understand what quarks are, so that you know when you deal with them where and exactly what do you need to do. For this you really need to understand what quarks are, and the first thing first, I'm going to scroll down right here where types and value are, just to be sure that you really understand what GQuark is and not what GQuark does. And that being said, the GQuark, as you can see, it is an integer, an unsigned integer, 32-bit, nothing special. They define it to be called GQuark instead of declaring it like you see it here. And in other words, the GQuark is a non-zero integer which uniquely identifies a particular string. A GQuark value of 0 is associated with null. So in other words, the quark itself says let's say the small description, a two-way association between a string and a unique integer identifier. As you can see, we have a macro and we have 2, 4, 6 functions which we can work with, so it doesn't have to be complicated. It should be easier for you to understand what exactly is this, and we will see in a second. Anyway, the description right here says GQuarks or quarks are association between strings and integer identifier. So given either the string or the GQuark identifier, it is possible to retrieve the other. Well, we don't really need to read right now what this thing, what exactly means. It means something like, for example, when you declare a char, let's say, and you put a value inside it of 5 or something like this, and later you want to retrieve in an integer value, where the integer value should hold the value of your char, which is 5. So for this, you already know what you need to do. Well, this is something like this, but a little bit much more powerful and much more useful than the thing or the example which I provided right now, and you'll see it when it's coming its time. So now let's see what do we have. The first thing which we are going to do, we are going to declare a string. So I'm going to say const g char const and then a string, let's say nothing special, just a string, let's say a, b, c, d, a, whatever, f. Okay, so now what do we have here? We have a string with some information inside. Its information, its value, it is called a, b, c, d, a, f, nothing special. Okay, now the next thing which we are going to do, we are going to declare GQuark, because we need a GQuark. So I'm going to do it right here, GQuark, and of course I'm going to call it also quark. Don't be afraid about what I'm doing here, because seeing what I'm doing, I'm going to explain in the second that you need to understand. Now at this point, let me show you something. I'm going to retrieve, first thing which I'm going to do, I'm going to retrieve this string and put it inside the quark, and for this we need a function which is called GQuark from string. We have two of them basically. We have GQuark from string and we have GQuark from static string. Let us see what the difference is. Gets the GQuark identifying the given string. So if the string does not currently have an association quark, which means what exactly happens right now, because we just declare a string and it has no association, which means it will be the first time used, a new GQuark is created. So this is what basically now happens, using a copy of the string. Very important for you to understand, it's using a copy of the string, not the string itself. Okay, so this function must not be used before library constructors have finished running. Okay, it's very important for you. In particular, this means it cannot be used to initialize global variable in C++. Okay, and the second one, it says gets the GQuark identifying the given static string. The same story. If the string does not currently have an association GQuark, you see it's the same one, a new GQuark is created. Link it to the given string. Okay, this is very important. It is not something like using a copy. This is the main difference. Note that this function is identical to GQuark from string, except that if a new GQuark is created, and it will be right now, because if you call this function after you declare the pointer where you create a string, basically it is where exactly that string has no association so with a GQuark, and it will be a newly GQuark created. And as the GQuark from string says, except that if a new GQuark is created, the string itself is used rather than a copy. So you already know, I think you understand what's the difference between them. Now let us see how we can work with it. But just to be sure that you understand, when you say in C, for example, G char R, you declare Ri, and then you say A, B, C, D, A, whatever. At this point, what are you doing? You are creating an Ri, and once that you do it, you also create a literal string, and once that you create it, you are basically making a copy of this string and you are putting inside this Ri. This is what you are doing. It's different from, for example, where you say const or whatever here. Here, for example, we did the simple something different. We are not making a copy of this literal string and putting inside our string pointer. We are making only literal string, and we are pointing our pointer to this literal string. This is a thing which creates a lot of confusion in the new C commerce, because they really do not understand what exactly the difference is between these two calls, this one and this one. And I'm going to repeat myself. In the first one right here, we are declaring literal string, and then we are pointing our string pointer to point to location of where the string it's located. And in the second call right here, g char r, we are basically also creating a string. But once that we are assigning this string to our R, basically we are copying this information and we are throwing it inside here. That's the reason why we can manipulate this string right here, because basically you are not manipulating this one right here. You are manipulating the string which you put it inside here, which is the same like this one at this point. And here you, because you are not putting the information inside the string, this means that you have only read access to it, and you have no write access to. This means if you try to write this string right here, you're going to get a nice segmentation fault. For this to work, you need to create a memory table, like a heap, how someone used to, where you are working with malloc or gmalloc in our glib case. And once that you create that memory location and you get it from your operating system with the help of your compiler, basically you are pointing your pointer to that location, and then inside that location you are going to put this string, and then you finally can manipulate the information which is there inside, but not like this. Having something like this means just getting read access, and here basically means you are getting a copy of the literal string, which later you can manipulate that copy. So that's the reason which it's important for you to understand it. Now, because you understand these things and you know exactly how it works, or at least how it should work, the thing which we need is, like I said, we need to point our GQuark to the GQuark from string, and we are going to pass the string itself. And now, because we have it, we can print to see what exactly do we have here. Gprint, and here we can say the quark is %u, which is the unique identifier. And of course we can say also the string is %s, so that we know exactly what we are dealing right now, right here. Now let me compile it and run it and see which unique number we get. Of course I have a primary constant. What did I declare there? Constant. Sorry guys, my bad. Anyway, let us check our unique identifier for our string. And we, as you can see, we got a number, and the number it is 1364, and the string it is basically A, B, C, D, E, F. which we needed, which looks like it's working fine. In the next video we will see exactly how we can work with this information based on their values which they are saved inside the GQuark and inside our constant G-char, and you will see something very interesting, something different from what C language are providing you, and standard doesn't show you a way of working with things like this, but glib has it. That being said, thank you guys for watching. If you like it, please subscribe, share with your friends and neighbors, and until next time, see you guys.